we were talking about this earlier. Also, the fact that women-owned business. Uh, and what was that like? What were the challenges you saw having both of you females? You had never started a business before. Was it challenging in any way being both of you being female? Was that an issue at all?
I wish I had this statistic, but most women-owned businesses do not succeed after the first year. Rarely do women-owned businesses make a revenue over $1 million. And it is, we've come a lot within our society, but it's still very male dominated. And as women, even we were the first Amada that was solely owned by women.
Yeah.
So even Amada as a franchise, sometimes they didn't know what to do with us because we just thought different. Women think different. Not that it's bad at all. It's just we're just all different and we're unique. And so some of the challenges of women-owned, it's a male-dominated. We do think differently. I think we think more in a holistic and processes way instead of compartmentalized. But it was definitely hard, and it is definitely hard, but I still would tell every woman that's thinking about being an entrepreneur is just do it. You will be unstoppable when you put your mind to it.
That is awesome. And by the way, all those statistics have not been true for you guys. You guys have become incredibly successful. You've run this business for almost 10 years now. What do you think was and is the secret to your success? How have you two been able to take your friendship, take how very different you are, and create such an amazingly successful business?
Well, like I said, I was pretty much broke. I'm a single mom, and I'm investing everything I had. I had just got out of debt and I went into debt to start Amada Senior Care. Chris, she was also divorced at the time. And so we were looking at, what is she going to do later on in her life as well? So I'm getting back to your question is how did we make it successful? Chris and I have a motto of there is no plan B. There is no plan B. We had to make this work. When you go in as an entrepreneur and you have like a way out, if you have also a second job, you have a foot in this job and a foot in a business that you're starting, I get that you have to pay the bills. I get that. But for us, I took out a loan to survive. I didn't work in a separate job because there was no plan B. There was no plan B. All the effort needed to be for our business, for Amada. So I hope that makes sense. That's how we made it successful. There was no plan B.
No, that makes complete sense. That there's an entrepreneur that I really like that always says entrepreneurs make decisions and then they just go about making that decision right. Right? That whatever decision you made to start X thing, the bottom line is you're going to have to go and make that decision right. You're going to do whatever it takes to make that business successful. And that's what you did, right? Is you guys just went out there and made sure the business was successful. And it's such an amazing story that you've been able to do that. It's amazing. Okay, now tell us, for entrepreneurs who, or the wannabe entrepreneur, the person who's thinking, I really want to start a business, and they've been thinking about this for a long time. Let's be honest here. What do you think are the 3 worst things about transitioning from corporate America to becoming an entrepreneur? What are the 3 hardest things about doing that?
One of the things as an entrepreneur, initially it seems like you have to know everything. As you continue to grow and scale your business, you can start to release some of that, but it seems like you kind of have to be an expert at everything. And that's really challenging. You have to be an expert at your technology. Like there's no tech department anymore to send your computer to, right? You have to solve it. You are the tech department. You are the everything department. There's no other department. You're the HR, you have partners in place, but you still are managing that, right? So that's the hardest thing, is to kind of know everything. The second thing is that you're constantly learning, and it is tiring. Once you think you're like, oh, we've mastered that process, like something happens, right? A new law is passed, or something changes, and you're like, well, now we have to go rewrite everything, and we have to go and retrain. And just when you think you've got it in a certain area, it totally changes. So it's constantly changed, constantly learning. One of the things that the third, I think, hardest thing, it wasn't COVID itself. Yes, that was hard. But as an entrepreneur, I remember just feeling it was the weight. It was the responsibility and the weight emotionally for our clients, their families, our staff, of how to navigate as a leader through that. And I will tell you, it was just sleepless night of how, because I just felt this weight. I felt this weight, especially for my staff, not to cut staff, not to, diminish their hours or anything like that. How do we keep our families safe? How do we keep clients safe? It was just all around. So it's the emotional responsibility and the burden of being a leader. But it's good, but it's still there. Hopefully that makes sense.
No, it does. I think of all the things you've said, I think that is probably such a true statement, that everything that happens in the company, everything that happens in the economy that affects your company, you feel it way more when it's your company than when you just work there. Because when you just work there, it's kind of like, well, it's like whoever they are, they're going to figure this out. And hopefully I still have a job tomorrow. When it's your company, it's, no, I have to figure this out. And I'm hoping I can keep all my team, all my staff, and the changes you have to make. Yeah, you're right. That is a big growth that you can't get until you're an entrepreneur, huh? Like no one understands that until it's like people with children and people without children. People without children never understand what it's like to have kids. And I mean, you can explain it, you can show graphs and Venn diagrams, but no one ever understands it until they have children. Same thing with starting a business. You'll never understand what it's like to have the responsibility until you actually have it. And it's a huge growth opportunity. I love that. Okay, now what are the 3 best things about being an entrepreneur?
So I'm going to do this without trying to cry, because there's so many benefits, and many times an entrepreneur, you don't see the benefits until later. So you definitely have to put the grind in. I would, first of all, again, I'm a mom I'm a single mom of 3 children. I have remarried since I've opened Amada, but still, you're in a blended family, but I can manage my own time. And that was really nice, that I didn't have to ask a boss, can I take off to go and serve the football team meals, before their game? Or can I go and, I'd like to go and watch my daughter's, band practice. It was just nice to have time that I can determine what to do with. obviously there's give and take. So I would put time on the other times, right? You're still working on weekends or night or things like that. So don't get me wrong, but I could kind of shift my time where my priorities and my values were, with that. I love that I feel Chris and I have created our own destiny. When I say destiny, I feel that now, how do I say this? I used to sit there and count pennies, and it doesn't mean that I am like where I want to be. But I love that when there's somebody like in my church or my Bible study group that's going through something hard, I don't have to say, can I fit that into my budget? Or how can I help? It just allows me to love and serve God's people now, how I've always wanted to. Sorry. That's just so important to me that I can be able to give back to others, because I know that during some of my deepest, darkest times, people gave into me. And so it's a way for me to just give back now, and enrich the lives. I mean, that's what Amada is, enrich the lives of others. So, okay, I'm going to stop.
That's really cool. Yeah, that's awesome. That's beautiful. Okay.
All right. And again, I hope I'm not overstressing. Like, I love serving our clients and families, and doing service with them and walking their journey also allows me the capability to walk journeys with other people in my life, right? Alongside other people. And I just love Amada. I love the opportunity. I love being an entrepreneur. I don't know if I could ever do anything else besides being an entrepreneur right now. I love that Amada has built such an amazing foundation for us to build on, right? Like, I feel like Amada franchise has done a great job giving a foundation, but it's each entrepreneur's responsibility to harvest that foundation, to grow that foundation. It's not easy. It's not going to come like, oh, I'm just going to open my doors and everybody's going to be like, oh, Amada. No. And that's one of our values, is we have to go work the land, go work it.
Man, I love that. Kim, this has been, I think, my favorite episode. You can't tell anybody that.
Yeah.
That's just between you and me. When you start something like this, right, and you help entrepreneurs get started, you're always thinking about, because we're in a job where, my job is to put people in harm's way, right? They come to us, they talk about the business, and they learn about it, and then they make that decision, and you're holding your breath, going, man, I hope they really take this and they make it successful, right? And so all these years later, to hear that you made this decision and it worked, and you're successful, and you're able to take your time and your money and give back, like for us, that is the biggest gift ever, right? To hear that, to hear these experiences. So I'm super thankful that that you're willing to share that. It's really cool. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I hope it was beneficial. I'm not always the most, how do I say it, eloquent speaker when I'm sharing my emotions. So
That was great.